Today, we're going to be going over the basics of a scav run in Escape from Tarkov. This is something that every new player needs to wrap their heads around because a scav run is the best way to get gear. Whether you're going in with a scav and just extracting to take the gear that's on that scav, or you're going in to get gear, this is probably one of the easiest and most foolproof ways of doing it. So first things first, when you get to this screen, this would be your scav. This shows you exactly what you're going to be wearing going into the raid. So you can see the gun right here that I've got. I don't know exactly what gun this is. I'm new too, but I've just got maybe like 20, 30 hours into the game. So I do know a little bit. I know enough to answer a lot of the basic questions. You can see the gun that your scav has. You can see there's some tactical vests here. You don't think there's any armor though. You can see a helmet, and then you've got some headphones, which are going to make it just a little bit easier to hear enemies. So let's keep going. Now we've got to pick where we're going to go. That generally just try and base it on what gun your scav has. So this gun is a pretty bad gun, so it doesn't really matter where you go. I know factory best, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm still new enough that if I went on pretty much any other map, I'd either get lost or I'd need a map to show me where everything is. To make it more interesting for you, I'm going to do factory because that's sort of the map that I know best. So generally what you want to do is pick a map that basically suits the guns that you've got. So if I had a shotgun, that would probably be the perfect time to be doing something like factory. If you've got a sniper, you're probably going to be doing a bigger map like woods. If you've got something automatic, maybe you want to do something like, I don't know, interchange or something like that. I don't know the maps that well. I'm not giving advice on that. All right, so we've just jumped in. Again, first things first, you've got to figure out where you are. You can hear some gunshots here, so you got to be careful of that. Now you check what you've got. You can see we've got some ammo. We've got some magazines. Got a little bit of healing here. Not too much. I do like this helmet. Sometimes you jump in and you're going to find yourself with a key or something like that that's valuable. In that case, you might just want to go and extract. And sometimes you'll spawn right near an extract point. So it might not even be, there might not be any issues. So let's go ahead. We've got our first dead body. Let's go ahead and search that. As you can see, there's pretty much nothing here. Also, one thing that's worth noting is that any XP or any experience that you get while doing a scav run, you do keep. Now, when it comes to quests, it does get a bit interesting. You can't complete quests as a scav. So if your quest is to kill X number of units, none of the kills you get as a scav will count towards that quest. But if you need a generic quest item or something like that, you will be able to pick that up as a scav, extract, and take that item with you, and then you can use that item to complete a quest. So if you need a key or something like that, it will be a lot easier to get it as a scav because other scavs won't attack you. This does not, however, mean that you're free from attack by other players or certain units in the game like bosses, raiders, and cultists. One important caveat, however, is if you get your scav level to a high enough level, you will not be attacked by bosses or the minions around bosses. This is really nice because now it means that you can run bosses and actually help bosses battle PMCs and get that PMC loot. It makes it really amazing, and that's why you should try to get to as high of a scav level as possible. So this is another scav. I don't want to shoot him. If I shoot him, I'm going to lose reputation with the fence trader, and also it's just not good for him because he's going to shoot me back. You can let this guy lead. He's going to get shot by another player, hopefully before me, which will give me a little bit of a heads up that someone might be coming. Also, any noise that's being made, he sort of covers it up. So now what's going to happen is if another player is coming, they hear some noise, they're going to see him, and they think he might be the one making the noise, not me. If you're wondering how to tell the difference between a treasonous scav, a PMC, and a scav that you should be friends with, it's really hard. A treasonous scav from a scav you can't really do until you see them shooting another scav, and then you gotta see who engages and everything like that. When it comes down to a PMC, some PMCs will dress like scavs. That is a strategy. It is really confusing, but a general rule of thumb is if you see someone all kitted out with really good gear, they're probably not a scav and you're probably free to engage. Otherwise, it's best to hold fire, and if they do shoot you, let it be. Unless you've got really good loot, of course, in which case maybe you do want to be firing first and extracting as fast as possible. So what you can do too is, see, at this point, you can go through. You've got a lot of bodies here. Let's clear this out. Let's see if there's anyone down here, and then we're going to go back and try and loot those bodies. So one of the nice thing is, again, you're jumping in mid-raid. You can see there's only 6 minutes left. But what this means is I can go in, I can clean up after another player's gone through, killed everything. I don't have to kill any scavs, so I'm not getting that negative reputation, but I can still loot whatever I find here. Sometimes there's some really good stuff left behind, especially as you get later into a wipe. So as you get later into a wipe, what's going to happen is I don't know what they're talking about there. I'm going to try. I probably have to mute that. I don't know. That's a little weird. But basically, what's going to happen is as you go further and further into white, players are more and more likely to leave behind stuff that you actually might want to take. So, yeah, sometimes you just jump into a raid and all you need to do is just look around. And there we go. Let's put that on. And you're going to be able to find a ton of stuff without really doing too much effort or too much work. Some other ways that you can get scav points, and some really good ways to get scav points, would be to use a car extraction as a PMC. You can also use a co-op extraction as a scav or a PMC. And if you just extract as a scav, you get 0.01 points, but that co-op extraction will be 0.25 points, and the car extraction will be 0.25 points. You want to get 6 points in total to get to that highest scav level. Along with this, you can do a bunch of other stuff, but I'm not really going to go over that because you don't really need to worry about it too much at this point. Oh, another thing worth noting is that you do get points for killing PMCs or unfriendly scavs, basically scavs that are attacking other scavs. So once you've had a good run, once you're happy with the run, you can just extract. So it's going to work just like a normal extraction. You hit 0 twice or you hit O twice, you're going to see that you can go out the office window, camera bunker, gate 3. So down below me, there's that camera bunker door. Up above me, there is that window. So again, this is a fairly successful scav run, as you can see, and I didn't really have to kill anybody. I didn't really have to do that much. I'm going to be able to, hopefully, we haven't extracted yet, but hopefully extract with a decent amount of ammo, gear, and everything like that. And it really wasn't all that much work. So there we go. A key thing, too, to remember about a scav run is that when you're on a scav run, it's not necessarily about killing other players. It's just about grabbing a bunch of loot and then getting out with that loot. One quick tip that I just remembered for telling if someone's a PMC or scav is asking them to say something. Scavs speak Russian and PMCs can speak Russian, but a lot of them do speak English. So if you hear English words, that might be a key that that's not someone so friendly. But do keep in mind that whole extract thing, that co-op extract thing, means that even if someone is a PMC, they might be willing to work with you if they're trying to get their scav level up. It's pretty easy to find those extract points. The office window tends to be a very popular one. If the map's a little busy, there's other places that you can better use, but let's go ahead and get out of here. We've got our loot, we've got our gear, it's time to go. And that would be a successful scav run. And right here you can see a decent amount of XP gotten. Raid time was only 6 minutes, so I wasn't in there too long, but we did manage to extract with pretty much a full inventory, and some of this stuff I can keep, a lot of this stuff I'm going to sell. Overall, I'd say this was a fairly good entry and exit. Fairly easy, but yeah, that's why I tend to like scav runs. They're nice and easy. Also, one thing worth noting is any gear that you leave behind, you can't take with you. You can't come back and get this. So whatever you can't move over to your inventory, like this knife, is just lost. Generally, if you're really new to the game, what you're going to want to do is just move everything over to your inventory, sell it to traders. And here you can see fence reputation for exfil. So I got 0.01 reputation increase because I managed to successfully exfil with my scav. My overall standing change was 0.01, and pretty much everything else was me just looting a few bodies and then getting out of there. It was a really quick run, but you can see with this method, you can get a decent amount of profit, especially early game. If you're struggling to get weapons, if you're struggling to sort of stay alive in the game, this is a way that you can easily do that. So what happened now is because I just did a scav run, I'm going to have to wait 28 minutes until I can do my next scav run. But you can see my characters here already, so you can see nice big backpack, sort of a cool gun there. This is probably a character that I'm going to be taking to a little bit more of an intense map. Anyways, that is a basic scav run in Tarkov. Like I said, I'm new, so there's probably a lot of technicalities I did miss, but that's the basics to a scav run. If you're just getting into the game, the scav run is a perfect way to jump in, see what you can get and extract. It's a really good way to get used to the maps. Try out a selection of gear that's picked for you by the game rather than going in and trying to sort of fumble together your own gear and getting some sort of sniper scope on a ridiculously short range weapon or something like that. This is a good way to let the game set all that for you. Go in and see if you can have a good time with it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.